are live. Welcome to this week's Teaching Raid live stream coming to you from Sarlona. This week we are doing the Heroic Abbot Raid. If you haven't joined us for one of these events before, this is something that me and my guild, the High Lords of Malkier on Sarlona, have been doing for 5 years now, where we're every week during the winter and spring we host a different raid or maybe set of raids and teach newer folks how these raids work in a low stress learning environment that's designed to give them like a basic level of competency with the raids. And we're not trying to make them experts, we're just trying to get them comfortable with it so that they might be able to join a pug and have a reasonable idea of how things work. Sometimes at these events we get people who are brand new to the game. Sometimes we get longtime veterans that just have avoided raiding. There's a lot of reasons why people avoid raids. And sometimes we get folks in between. Sometimes we get veterans who are just maybe haven't done the particular raid that we're doing that week. And this week marks the end of the first half of the 2018 series. We have now, well, after this event, we'll have worked through every single raid in the game. And what we traditionally done in years past is that we just start back up at the top and work through them all again. But there are so many raids in DDO now, there's been new raids added over the last couple of years that I don't really have the space or time to do every raid twice. Already we went into the summer a little bit. So this year we decided to chop out some of the older raids from doing them twice. So we've done every raid in the game once, and now we're going to start at the top and do just the newer, not just the newer raids, but I guess just omitting some of the very, very oldest raids like Vision of Destruction and Chronoscope and Demon Queen and even Abbot. Abbot isn't going to be done twice this year, just once. Hey guys, welcome to the live stream. Thanks for joining us, David, Pat, Javon, and Jim. The way that we do Heroic Abbot as a teaching raid is quite a bit different than the raid would normally be run, because what we do is we will be leading it in such a way so that all the new folks get to see all of the puzzles. So it won't be done the way the raid is normally done. It will be done so that we get to see all 3 puzzles. Alright, so everybody in the group right now is my guildies here to help out. We run this raid in High Lords every week, and there was a time that we ran it twice a week and 5 times each of those nights, and so we're running it 10 times per week. This is my favorite raid, and now we're just down to running it 2 times a week on Thursday nights. It's a public event, by the way, so if you're on Sarlona and you want to join us for Heroic Abbot, we do it every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. Just look for the LFM, all welcome to join. I'm going to get the new folks in here. So if you're watching the live stream, you got a few minutes to go grab a drink or something. Just have a couple sign-ups, so it'll be a slow night. This raid takes a lot of effort to flag for, and the flagging mechanism now is bugged. So I've already had a couple people tell me they had either trouble flagging or couldn't flag, so that's a bummer. So we'll see. I just have 2 sign-ups, so we'll see if they could even make it. One of them's right here. Hey, Lirenar, welcome. Hey, Angry Tiger, welcome.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Really good, thanks.
I'm glad you guys made it. There's, the flagging mechanism is bugged, and so some folks are having a hard time with that. I just want, before we get started here, I want you to click on the door and make sure that you can get into Ascension Chamber, not Mark of Death.
Works for me.
Okay, great. guys have attended our teaching raids before, so you guys know how these things work. You're the only sign-ups today, so I don't know if we would have had more if the flagging mechanism wasn't, bugged out, or if it's just, because this one does take a lot of effort to flag for. I want to know, though, like, Lyranar and Angry Tiger, have you guys ever done this raid before?
I've never done the heroic, but I did the legendary one, I guess.
Okay. I'm not the best at explaining it because I haven't personally experienced it, but Bolo, you said you're having trouble. Would you mind taking a moment to explain what you saw?
Yeah, what's happening is if you have the completed sigil from a previous life, that will allow you to get into Litany of Deaths, you can do Litany of Dead decks before you even want to do the mini bosses. However, it appears that at least for some people, that completed sigil from a previous life is not allowing the 4 options to count towards getting flagged for Ascension Chamber. And it's only happening to some people, and it doesn't seem to be a reason why it's happening to some and not others. So what you end up having to do is destroy that completed sigil from a previous life and fill out a new sigil, turn that in, and then you'll be able to do the optionals to get flagged for Ascension Chamber. Yeah, it's something I just ran into this afternoon on another tune, so I was very frustrated by it.
It's been broken or bugged since they changed the flagging mechanism. So, a couple months ago, in one of the patches for update 37, they changed it so that you don't have to reacquire a new sigil every life. You used to have to get a new sigil every life, which that then flagged you for Litany, and you'd have to kill the 4 Litany bosses to flag. Well, the change was that that once you complete a sigil, the sigil becomes permanent, and that will always stay in your inventory, kind of like the sigil for the Titan raid, and that will carry over with you to next lives. So in successive lives, you don't have to collect a new sigil. You don't have to collect all those 8 sigil pieces again, which is a big time savings, but it's been bugged for like 2 months, so hopefully they'll get that fixed. I also want to know, the folks watching the live stream, like,
I see people not wanting to run it very much just because it's such a pain to flag.
I want to know what server you guys are from, and if you've ever done the Heroic Abbot raid before. So, one of you said you'd done the Epic Abbot raid. It is basically an entirely different raid. When we step in, it will look like it's going to be the same, and there are a few similar elements, but overall it is a completely different raid. And we are going to be doing this a little bit differently. So the main part of this raid, there's like 3 different puzzles that have to be done, and so the way that a typical raid would be run is that the group will split up into 3 different groups to do those puzzles. Well, we're not going to do that, because during this teaching raid I want you guys to be able to see every puzzle. And we'll be teaching you how to do 2 of them, and in the 3rd puzzle, the goggles, which is a much more complicated puzzle, we're just going to sort of show you how it works and not actually take the time to teach you, because it does take a long time to really, to really, teach it properly. So what you're going to see here is not how the raid is normally run. Like I said, we're going to be taking you into all 3 of the puzzles. And so, it's going to be one puzzle, then the next puzzle, then the next puzzle, instead of all 3 puzzles being done at the same time, which will make this run quite a bit longer than a normal Abbot would. And by the way, the High Lords host this as a public raid event every Thursday night at 9. So moving forward after tonight's event, if you guys want to join us for a Thursday night event, and we knock those out in 10 to 15 minutes per run. We do 2 runs every Thursday night, so I want to let you know that. that's there. And you know, like I said in the posting for this event, even though this raid is like 9 years old or 10 years old, it still contains some of the best at level loot in the game, which is really awesome that such old content has loot that is still so very competitive. Does any of the High Lords have heroic Abbot loot on them? I don't think I have anything. Oh, I have that. I have the quiver. So like the Quiver of Alacrity is one of the most sought after items in the game for every class, because when you upgrade it, it gets Striding 30, and it has no minimum level. So when you TR your tune, you're back at level 1, you have Striding 30 at level 1, and which is in your quiver slot, which is just awesome. And then the item becomes even better for a ranged tune, or for an archer anyways. And then there's like the gloves, Vile Blasphemy, which have 3 clickies of spell point regeneration on them, and it's the only spell point regeneration item in the game that isn't exclusive, so you can have like 10 of them on your tune if you want. It doesn't regenerate spell points very fast, there's one right there, but it's still a nice spell point clicky. The bow is still one of the best bows in the game for upper heroic levels. Just, you know, most of the, well, probably half of the loot in this raid is still relevant for like upper heroics, and then even items like the Quiver of Alacrity and the Vile Blasphemy even have relevance at endgame. The trinket, which is called Litany of the Dead, not to be confused with the quest Litany of the Dead, is still one of the best level 13 plus trinkets in the game for heroic levels. Although the ring out of, I believe it is Black and Blue, is actually better in lower level, but you know, if you don't have a ring slot open, then and you do have your trinket slot open, it's basically a +1 to all stacking bonus. It's stacked with nearly everything because it's a profane bonus, and there just aren't that many profane bonuses. So even though the point is that even though this is a pain in the butt raid to flag for, there's all kinds of good stuff to be gotten from the raid. Now, I'm curious, Angry Tiger and Larinar, you know, some of this stuff was given away in the birthday event a couple years ago. So were you guys able to nab any of that stuff?
I can't remember what I picked. I did get something out of it. I definitely looked at those.
Okay. Well, hopefully between tonight and if you join us in our Thursday events, that you'll get the other things that you're looking for. I do want to say that Abbot is one of the most technically challenging raids in this game, probably second only to the Titan raid. It's not a difficult raid, but from a technical perspective, it's very challenging because there are so many little things that can go wrong. And that's one of the reasons why you don't see this raid pugged. I mean, besides the fact that it's older, but also because it's just such a pain in the butt to find a good group, you know, that can do all the puzzles. Like I said, there's so many little things that can go wrong, from miscommunication to just little hang-ups in the puzzles that can cause failure, etc. And that's one of the reasons why we've been hosting as a public event for so many years, because we run it pretty well, and that way it gives the community an opportunity to join an Abbot raid that is smooth and fun. And if you join week after week, we teach people all the puzzles. Okay. Go ahead and step in on Elite. Make sure you step into Ascension Chamber. This is one of those raids, kind of like Reaver's Fate and Fall of Truth, that it's easy to go into the wrong one, and people will go in and go, "What? Where's everybody?" You know, you went into the wrong raid. You could go into Mark of Death and be all alone. Just don't go past the very edge of the platform, right where we're at. If you were to go any further than this, you would start the raid. And Larinar, if you could get rid of your cosmetic pet, that'd be great. They tend to get in the way in the puzzles in here. So Gulliver won't be able to join us. Mark, this is your favorite raid too. That's awesome. That's definitely my favorite. Hey Robert, welcome to the live stream. Okay, so once we step forward, the bridge behind us will disappear and a barrier will come up over the entrance, blocking the raid. People could enter the raid, but they'd be stuck behind that barrier. And so let's see, who, Lyranar and Angry Tiger, which, Lyranar, you did Mark of Death. Angry Tiger, have you done Mark of Death?
I did, but it was quite a while ago.
Okay. It's okay, like, it's like I said, it's basically an entirely different kind of raid. You know, the platform looks the same, you know, the Abbots, it's still, you know, it's still the Abbot, but that's pretty much where the similarities end. The water around the platform is similar, but it's actually not quite the same. So here, you can see we have some pukey water that's surrounding the platform. And that's like death water. And will take for a lot of damage if you're in it. If you die in the water, your soul stone will sink to the bottom, and it's very deep. And it's so deep that you actually, we can't reach you with raise spells when you're at the bottom, so it becomes a timing issue to like try to raise you while you're swimming up, which is kind of a pain in the butt. The difference there between Mark of Death is that the water, if you die in the water in Mark of Death, you teleport your soul stone to the center of the platform, so it's a lot easier to raise you. But here, just, you know, be aware that if you die in the water, it can become complicated to raise you. And there are some spots in the water that, for whatever reason, will insta-kill you. So I've never really figured out exactly where or why that is, but it's possible that if you fall in the water or get tossed out into the water, you might instantly die. If you get tossed out into the water, just try to swim back to the platform and only jump to get up onto the platform. Don't jump through the water, because like lava, it will take damage every time you hit the surface, just causing you to die faster. And it does take for quite a bit of damage. Once we step forward, the Abbot will come down off his perch. You can see him, he's sitting on the hand of his statue right now. And he'll come down to the center. He's a Lich, so his DR is bludgeoning and magic. And his invulnerabilities are cold and electric. And we're going to beat him down to 70% health. Now this is just a level 17 raid, so you know we're going to smoke it. The hard part of this raid is not beating anything down. That's the easy part by today's standards. Back when the level cap was 20, beating the Abbot down was definitely more of a thing. But today, you know, when you get a bunch of 30s in there, you know, you can beat him down really quickly. It's getting the puzzles done right, and getting everybody in the right puzzles is the challenging part, is the technically challenging part. So once we beat him down to 70, he's going to take a break. And then 3D doors will appear across the platform from us. One is going to be directly across from us, one off to the left and one off to the right. And there are 3 puzzles that need to be done in order to complete the raid. And it's the same 3 puzzles every raid, but their locations are somewhat random. So what we're going to do is send spotters. We're going to designate 2 people to go into the left and right D door, and they're going to tell us what puzzles are behind door number 1 and door number 3. And then, by process of elimination, we'll know what's behind the middle D door, and then everybody will go into the D door that they're assigned to and do those puzzles. That's how it normally works. In this case, we're going to, like I said, we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. We're not going to be doing it like a normal Abbot raid would be run. We are all pretty much going to go into the ice puzzle, and we're going to teach you how that one works first. But for the folks, and I'm going to have a couple High Lords as the spotters, whoever ends up in Roids, I need you to grab the 4 stacks of rocks before you die and come back. So just grab the 4 rocks, die, we'll raise you, and that way we'll have extra stacks of rocks for the next time we go in there. So that's all I want to explain up to this point, because the ice puzzle, we'll be able to explain it to you when we get in there. Once we get into the ice puzzle, there's no sense of urgency. We have all the time in the world. But does anybody have any questions up to this point? Okay, let me figure out spotter jobs. Okay, so Menon, you're going to spot left. Turek, you're going to spot right. And then, only if it's needed, Bolo, you're going to spot the center. In other words, you're going to grab, if no one ends up in Roids, you're going to go into Roids and grab the rocks. I need to step away for 1 minute, guys. I'll be right back. I apologize. I'm back. Sorry about that. So Menon left, Turek right, and then if one of those two don't end up in Roids, Bolo, I'm going to ask you to go to center and just grab the rocks. And all of the spotters, if you don't end up in ice, just die, and I'll raise you in the center and we'll all go into ice. If you end up in Roids, make sure you grab the rocks before you die. If you end up in goggles, grab the goggles too. If you're on the side with the goggles. In fact, I might send 2 people into goggles to make sure we get it. So how about Wooter? You're gonna go into goggles too. Or I'm actually maybe, like, if the person that ends up in goggles doesn't end up with the side with the goggles, then I'm gonna send you in to grab them. Okay.
All right.
Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and get some buffs. And let's beat down Abbot. And he's going to teleport around the platform, and he is a spellcaster. So he's just going to be lobbing spells at us. He only teleports to like 5 different spots. Spotters, get in place, please. Left Menon, right Turek.
Right is ice.
Okay.
Up his goggles, might have the goggles.
Great. Bolo, go center and grab the roids, please, and then die. Menon, go ahead and die. And I'll raise you. And then everybody else can go right now. Bolo and Menon die and come out.
I almost made it all the way through.
I just grabbed your stones. And then go right. Alright, cool. Those D-doors, by the way, will stay up for 90 seconds. So you get a little bit of time. Let's see, Bolo, can you grab this wand here? Or anyone to it, doesn't matter. There we go. Okay, first thing I want to show you guys, if you look over here to the extreme right side, you can see down at the end of the passage there's a sarcophagus. You can see half of it. I wanted to remember to point that out first to show you, like, you can hit that from here. You have to break that sarcophagus. There's actually in each puzzle 2 sarcophagi that have to be broken in order for that puzzle to be considered complete. So I just really wanted to show, like, you can break that one from the starting platform before you ever even get started. So here in the ice puzzle, Menon's just showing you what it's like if you jump in the water. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and do that for the purposes of the live stream. So with my aura on, it doesn't really even out damage my aura. It does, I guess, a little bit, but I can almost stay in the water indefinitely. Actually, with the other regeneration that I have, I could probably stay in the water indefinitely, but you can see Bolo's taking a little bit of damage. Not too much. Now it looks like he's regenerating faster than it's hurting him. Back in the day, this stuff you would be lucky to get if you could survive 3 ticks. That was pretty awesome, but you know, today it doesn't do a whole lot of damage when you're, you know, level 30. Okay, so what this puzzle is basically like a river of this pukey water, and you just have to navigate your way to the end. And the way that you do that is by using these wands that we picked up off of the pedestals at the start. And in order to use the wands, you have to drag it into your hotbar and then click on it. And so you don't just, you know, a normal wand, once you equip it, you could shoot it just by, like, clicking your mouse or something. But here, if you do that, you just swing it. If you look what I'm doing, you see I'm just, like, swinging the wand like it's a bat or something. You actually have to click on the wand on your hotbar to fire it. It's very important. And when you fire the wand, it will shoot a little ice ball island out into the water. I'll demonstrate that. And then, you know, we don't jump to it now, but we would all jump to it like so. And then the person with the next wand would then throw another ice ball island out ahead of that one. And then we jump to that. And then so on and so forth. So it's almost like a game of leapfrog. And the wand goes on timer for about 10 seconds, which is about how long that little island lasts. So The point is that the one person with the wand can't just keep shooting islands. You have to alternate between the two, so this is a two-person puzzle. You typically just send 2 people in here, and then each of them grabs a wand, and then they take turns shooting the island out in front and everybody jumping to it. Where it gets complicated is there are some things that can make it, mess up or misfire. One is that you can see there's like dart traps out there shooting from those faces in the wall. Like if you get hit by a dart right when you're trying to fire the wand, then it can cause a misfire, and then the wand goes on timer. And so then you fall into the water possibly and possibly die. Another thing that can mess it up is if you have somebody that's standing directly in front of you or behind you, it can mess up the way things target in DDO, and that goes for like any wands and spells. So when you're shooting the wand, you want to make sure you don't have anybody like right in front of you or behind you that basically would like get between you and the camera or between you and your targeting reticle. And you just would point your targeting reticle to where you want it to fire, and then you click on the wand on your hotbar and it fires it there. Now, ice, because we're level 30 now and we all have so many hit points, basically with anybody with a decent amount of hit points that can self-heal, can just swim across it. It's not a very long river. It only takes about 10 seconds to swim to the other side. And so these days, really anymore, we just have somebody swim it and not even bother with the wands. But we wanted to show you how the wands work, and the wands do have another function in the raid too. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to swim to the other side and grab some extra wands. There are extra wands over there. So everybody sit tight. I'm just going to go grab us some extra wands and I'll be right back. So if you're watching the live stream, you can see like it's not hard to swim this. If you have, a cleric aura or a warlock aura, or you are a druid and you have, regeneration or any kind of self-healing, if you have Merfolk's Blessing that helps you swim faster, etc. I mean, you can swim this like a druid in water elemental form with Merfolk's Blessing. I can swim this in like 5 seconds. It's pretty ridiculous.
If you die in the water here, what happens to your soul stone?
Good question. It gets teleported back into the center, so if you die in here, you're not getting back in until you go through another round of beatdown on the Abbot. Bolo, since you're so good at surviving this, I want you to swim down here too, because I remember that there was an issue with the wands not spawning. But it might have just been, maybe just the sarcophagus needs to be broken. I can't remember what it was. Go ahead and somebody break that sarcophagus at the start too. Okay. There we go, they respawn now. Grab one of the wands, make sure you don't click out. And I'm just gonna keep making more wands spawn. If you jump into the water and jump out, it tends to make more wands spawn. It didn't that time. Okay, that should be enough wands. Gijo, go ahead and grab that one. And then swim back. Hey Robert W, welcome. So, yeah, if you die here, or in any puzzle, your soul stone gets sent back to the center of the platform where you first started. If you didn't complete the puzzle, then what you have to do is another round of beatdown on the Abbot and pull up those 3D doors again and then redo the puzzle. So, right now, in a normal Abbot raid, there'd be people in the other 2 puzzles getting those done. And then if any of the puzzles didn't get done, then you would all go back in, beat down Abbot again, pull up the 3D doors. The puzzles are reshuffled, so you gotta send spotters again because the order is not the same after their beatdown, and then send people into the puzzle that that didn't get done the first time. If you join us on Thursday night, 99% of the time we do a first rounder, but once in a while we have a little snafu in the puzzle. Okay, Gijo, go ahead and pass out wands to the High Lords. I'll get Wooter and Menon. Lyranar, I'm gonna give you a wand. Okay, everybody should have a wand now. Now, Angry Tiger and Lyranar, I want you to go ahead and equip that, put it on your hotbar, and then click on it on your hotbar to equip it, and then I want you to use your targeting reticle to aim where it would go, and then click on it on your hotbar to shoot your little ice island out there. This is just a test fire. Bolo, do you have extra wands?
I've got 1 or 2 extra, yeah.
Okay. So what I want to do now is demonstrate the misfire. So, Bolo, go ahead and get in front of me, you big lug. Okay, great. So, Bolo's right there in front of me, and I'm going to try to, like, target through him, and I'm going to show you what's going to happen is this wand is just going to, like, shoot off into the ceiling. See how it just boom right into the ceiling. Now let's switch places, Bolo, and I'm gonna try to shoot it with you behind me. Or like right on top of me. So he's interfering with my targeting reticle is the point. But I'm gonna go ahead and try to shoot it again. That time it shot okay. But you saw the one misfire. The point is, don't have anybody like right directly in front of you, behind you, to be safe. Let me try it again. Oh, that time it worked. You can see you can shoot it out pretty far. The problem, if you shoot it that far, you can't jump to it without hitting the water. So you really want to be careful about, like, if you are doing this puzzle legit, not to shoot it so far that you can't jump to it, but you also don't want to shoot it so close that you run out of charges before you get to the end. If you shoot them at a comfortable jumping distance, you're only going to be left with like 1 or 2 charges at the end of this. So you really need to, you don't have a lot of extra charges to waste. You're getting PTSD. One of the people watching, we are live streaming this like we do every week, and one of the people watching said that this was so hard back in the day that they're getting PTSD just watching this. Yeah, there's a lot of people that have had a lot of miserable experiences in this raid, including myself, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to learn this raid and lead it, because, you know, back in the day when I was new to it, I was like, this is such a mess, you know, but there's got to be a way to do it right, and so I, like, spent time learning it and figuring it out, and been leading it for years, and this, like I said at the start, is my favorite raid. I've had so many memories that in High Lords we've run this raid like I don't know how many thousands, like literally thousands of times over the years. But we want all our guildies to get their quivers and their litanies and stuff. Okay, so any questions about how to shoot the wands, Lyranar or Angry Tiger?
No.
Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're all, you know, like I said, normally you would only have 2 people if you're doing it legit, but, you know, we're all in here and we all have wands. So what we're going to do is all alternate. And so I'm going to have, like, let's see, both the new folks and me and, let's say, Mama. Both the new folks, me and Mama, will fire with the new group, and then all the other High Lords will fire as the secondary group. And just a reminder that both sarcophagi need to be broken for the puzzle to be completed, so you typically want to just break that one with a ranged weapon, the first one that you can see from over here with a ranged weapon, which we already did, before you even start. Because what can happen, a sort of a noobish mistake, or even an experienced person can do this, just not thinking, is you get to the end and then, oh, I forgot to break the first sarcophagus. You know, then you gotta come back and get it. So make sure that's the first thing you do, is break that sarcophagus when you do this puzzle. So here we go. We're gonna go ahead and, like I said, we're gonna do new folks firing, which is gonna include me and Mama, and then we're all gonna jump to that, and then the High Lords will fire. Any questions? And then we're just going to alternate. Yep, Turek is little Mama. Okay, here we go, guys. Let's see, High Lords fire first. Go ahead, High Lords. And everybody jump to that. And now the new folks are going to fire. And everybody jump to that. And now High Lords fire. It's okay if we have a misfire because we have so many people with wands. Alright, now the new folks fire. And everybody jump to that. Now High Lords fire. And now the new folks fire. And now High Lords. New folks. High Lords. Oh, Leonard, I didn't even see that. We have a casualty. Now High Lords. And new folks. And you can just swim to the end or jump to the end or whatever. Don't click on the portal though, that'll take you back to the main platform. And I want to show you here at the end there's a sarcophagus here too. You can see we already broke it, but if you turn around, you see it's right there. Right here where I'm jumping. Once you break those, it'll complete the rate or the puzzle. But once you get to the end of the platform, this portal appears and can take you back into the main platform. And so you could actually click on that without breaking the sarcophagi, and then oops, the puzzle didn't get completed, and you know you got to redo it, and you know you can't get back in until you do another Abbot beatdown, which sucks, and everybody's gonna be mad at you because you messed up your puzzle. So don't do that. Make sure you break the sarcophagi. Lyranar, I know you died, but do you or Angry Tiger have any questions about how ice works?
No, I think I get it.
Is there anything in the water? Is that what you're... Oh, you said you think you get it. Okay. Cool. Well, we're gonna move on to another puzzle, and the other puzzle is gonna require me to explain it before we get in there, because that puzzle, like, the action starts pretty much instantly, and we need to be, you know, we need to already know what to do by the time we get in there. Like, it's not like ice where you can step in and you got all the time in the world. So let's see, Bolo, what I'd like you to do is just go ahead and give me the rocks, but keep a stack for yourself. $25. You already
I'd rather
pre-split
go from
them.
smaller stacks.
That's awesome. I was gonna do that. Okay.
You
Okay.
want to just give them to people?
Just give me these, and you should have some more, and you can pass those out. Go ahead and give them to Wooter and Menon. Okay. Everybody should have some rocks now, except for Lyranar, who's in the center. We're gonna come back and raise you here in just a couple of minutes, okay, Lyranar? So Angry Tiger, what I want you to do is drag those rocks into your hotbar. And then you can click on them to equip them, just like you would a throwing weapon, and that's how they work. The rocks work like you're going to manually target and throw a throwing weapon. So you hold down like your right mouse button to target, and you left click to throw it, just like you would manually throw a throwing weapon, just like you were aiming at like a ranged lever or something. So go ahead and throw a rock or two. So you just want to make sure that you have it on your hotbar. You click out on your hotbar to equip it, and then you target and throw it just like you manually target and throw a throwing weapon. Any questions about how to throw the rocks?
No, that makes sense.
So when you're in Roids, the way that normally works is that that's a 4-person puzzle, and we'll step into that puzzle, and we're going to be like on a circular platform floating out in space, and there are 4 stacks of rocks there, and the 4 people that are assigned to Roids will each pick up a stack of rocks, and it's 50 rocks. And at that point, we're all going to face the people with the rocks, but in this case, we're all going to have rocks, because we got extra ones the first go around. We'll all face the center of the platform, about a body length or so in from the edge, half a body length to a body length, because, well, the Roids puzzle, which Roids is short for Asteroids, and it's like a 3-dimensional version of the old Asteroids arcade game. There's going to be these incoming asteroids, and we're going to use these rocks to shoot them down. And the reason why you want to be about a body length or so in from the edge is if you get hit by an asteroid, it can knock you back or to the side, and if you're all the way at that back edge, it's gonna kill you, knock you off and kill you, and then send you back into the main platform where Lyranar is, and then you're not there to do the puzzle. So about a half a body length in from the edge, so that if you get knocked around. Bolo, I think you're making noise out there. Can you jump back up? This is a little distracting.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, that was you. Okay, no problem. So we're all going to face the center of the platform, and we're going to shoot down incoming asteroids. So one of the tricks is when you're shooting it down, you want to make sure you're just like single clicking, that you're not holding the button down for even a half a second, because if you do that, you can throw 2 rocks. And if you continuously throw 2 rocks throughout the puzzle, you'll run out of rocks before the asteroids have all been destroyed, and then you're going to die. When the asteroids hit you, you take damage, and you can't cast like healing spells in there. So the only, you can do temporary hit point stuff like Cocoon and like some of the temporary hit point stuff that Warlocks get, but regular healing spells don't work in there. So you don't want to get hit by the rocks because you can't heal yourself, and because you don't want to get knocked off the platform. And everybody faces the center. Normally there's just 4, and basically the way it works is everybody just covers the person's back across from you. And you're also like looking 90 degrees left and right, and you're looking up and down, and that way there's like redundant coverage on all sides if everybody does that, but you're not turning all the way around. You don't need to cover 360 degrees because there's 4 of you, And if you all just cover like 90 degrees left and right and up and down, then, like I said, there's going to be redundant coverage on all sides. You know, if somebody gets hit by an asteroid and everybody's doing that, that means that, you know, like 3 people failed to shoot down an asteroid. Because not only is the person across from you should have your back, but the person on either side of you should have it as well, because they should be looking towards your back as well. But you're not, like I said, you're not going to be spinning all the way around. So what's going to happen now is we're going to go in there and the Abbot's back down, and we're going to beat him down again, except this time, and you have to do a beatdown anytime a puzzle didn't get done. And you know, Goggles and Roids didn't get done because nobody went in there. So we have to beat the Abbot down to pull up those D-doors again, and this time we have to beat him down to 30% health. Before, the first time was just 70% health. Now we got to beat him down to 30 before he disappears. And then the D-doors appear, the puzzles are reshuffled, and we're going to send spotters in there to figure out, you know, what's where, and then we'll all go into Roids.
Does it change like which D-door leads to which puzzle after you come out of one?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like when we go back in there. Oh, okay. So do you mean like, okay? So the D-doors are up for 90 seconds. Do you mean if you were to come back out in that first 90 seconds, would they change?
No, I guess I meant like if we go back now, like the first time the one on the right was ice, would it still be the one on the right is ice? Or
No,
is it a random
they get re-randomized, and so we're gonna have to send spotters out again to figure out what puzzles are where. And so that's why I'm going to have Menon spot left again and Turek spot right again, and then everyone will also go into Roids. And then Menon and Turek, let's see. I guess Menon and Turek, if you end up in Goggles, you can just stay there if you want. Okay? Okay, cool. But if you end up in ice, just please come out. Okay, so we're going to go in, we're going to beat the Abbot down to 30. Then he's going to take his break, 3D doors come up, we send spotters in, we all go into Roids once the spotters tell us what's where. Any questions? One more thing, I don't think Abbot has his special moves yet. I don't think that's until the puzzles are done. But just to be safe, don't come in quite yet. We just want to spot and make sure it's safe. Alright, oh yeah, Inferno. He's doing an Inferno. Do not come in. Okay, I wasn't sure about this. I couldn't remember if he was able to do his special moves now or if it was after all the puzzles are done. Okay, so it's important for me to explain how these work. So, the Abbot has 4 special moves now. And don't come in yet, guys. Let me go ahead and explain how this works. The first special move that he does is he summons invisible creatures. And firewalls and other AoEs will tear him right up. It's no big deal. The second thing he does is he disjuncts your gear, making it temporarily non-functional. No big deal. But if he gets your, like your jumping or your striding item, then that can, you know, sometimes be irritating. The third thing he does is he encases you in a large boulder. If you're watching the live stream, that's what happened to me. If you get encased, the only way to break you out is to use the extra rocks from the Roids puzzle to like throw at the boulder, and you have to hit the boulder 3 times to break somebody out. Otherwise it'll time out in about a minute. And one of the easy mistakes to do there is that if you still have something else targeted, like if you had the Abbot targeted but you're throwing the rocks at the boulder, then it doesn't count towards hitting the boulder. You need to make sure like you don't have anything else targeted, 'Cause even though it looks like you're throwing the rocks at the boulder, it doesn't actually break it. So that's the third thing, the encasement. Just call it out, you know, voodoo encased in the center or something, and then, you know, people with the extra rocks that are left over from the Roids puzzle will break you out. And the fourth thing he does, and this is clutch, is he does the inferno. And he can do the encasement in the inferno in the Mark of Death as well. In the inferno, he says, I call upon the inferno, and then the whole platform will go up like a firewall. And that's what you're seeing now on the live stream. And traditionally what is done, which we're going to do, is that everybody will run to the edge of the platform and shoot their little ice wand. My death ward ran out. And to create that little ice ball island out in the water. And then we will all jump to that, and that's a safe spot from the inferno. If you get hit by the inferno, and this is clutch, it acts as a curse, but it doesn't show up in your buff bar as a curse. You just have to know. And you need to drink curse pot, and if you don't, you're going to keep taking spell point and hit point damage until you're dead. In fact, that's why all my spell points are gone, because I got hit by the inferno out here. And I was in an encasement, so I couldn't drink a curse pot. And what's keeping me alive, if you're watching the live stream, what's keeping me alive through the inferno is my warlock aura. But you can see I'm still losing all my spell points, and it's taking away hit points, but my temporary hit points from my aura is keeping me up. So what we're going to do is when there's an inferno, we'll call out inferno, and everybody's going to run to the north of the platform, which is where we came in, by the blue barrier, by the altar. And we're going to shoot our little ice ball island out into the water, and then we're going to all jump on that for about 10 seconds until the inferno subsides, and then we're going to all jump back on the main platform. When you come in after the puzzles, you don't just want to all come in all at once, because the Abbot can do his special moves like as soon as you step in, and so if he could literally encase the entire party right when they step in, and then it could be a wipe. So what you want to do is send a spotter in to say when it's okay. The Abbot can only do his special moves like once every, I don't know, 15 seconds or something. So you wait till one of the special moves are done, and as long as it's not an inferno, you then call everybody in. So I'm going to call everybody in here in a moment. He's doing an inferno now, so I'm going to wait till after the inferno, and then I'm going to call everybody in. I'm also encased. Okay, everybody go ahead and come in. Everybody in. Everybody in. You just got a message that said ominous breeze flows throughout the zone, blah blah blah. Ominous breeze means he's summoning invisible creatures. Remember, if he does an inferno, and let's go ahead and wait for him to do that. Don't try to beat him down too fast, guys, because I want everybody to see this inferno. Remember, we're going to run to the north of the platform, and we're going to jump out onto the little ice ball island. So go ahead and just take your time beating him down. Ominous breeze. He says, what you can't see. He's summoning invisible creatures. We have to beat him down to 30% health, approximately, and then he's going to take his break. Engulf and encase. That's when he does the encasement. And if you're new, go ahead and take your extra rocks and try to break Turek out. Angry Tiger and Larinar, go ahead and equip your rocks and throw them at that boulder. You got her. There's the inferno. Everybody run north. Everybody north. Just jump to the island. This will be safe from the inferno. If you get hit by the inferno, make sure you drink a curse pot. And you can jump back up into the tail end of the inferno. It won't hurt you. Just you know, as long if you're not in it in the beginning, then you're pretty much okay.
Oh, encased in the north in the water.
Yeah, you're gonna die.
Did you get out?
Thank you.
All right.
Yep, thanks.
Let us see how you fight without your toys. That's what he says when he's disjuncting your gear. Okay. Okay, spotters go. Men in left, Turek right.
But I,
Right is goggles.
Grab the goggles, Mom, if you got them. Everybody else center. Men in, come on out.
Want me to die?
No. Oh, yeah. Actually, yeah. Go ahead and come in here.
Go die?
Yep.
Ooh, I almost made it across.
I might have a hard time raising you because I got neg leveled.
I got it.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. Center. We go center for roids. Remember, face the center of the platform, equip your rocks. And we're shooting down incoming asteroids. Go ahead and spread out. Lyranar, you don't want to be in the center like that. Make sure you're just throwing one rock at a time. Face the center of the platform. Half a body length in from the edge.
The fletching enhancement that rangers and rogue mechanics have that reduce or increase the returning number will allow you to use less rocks in here.
Lyranar, face the center of the platform. You're facing the outside right now. And cover my back, basically. There you go, like that. And so now you're going to pan 90 degrees left, 90 degrees right, and look up and down. Or you can just find a space. There's a big space between Angry Tiger and Bolo if you want to step in there. There you go, and just face the center of the platform and shoot down the asteroids as they come in. This was traditionally considered the easy puzzle, so when people were new to this raid, this is the puzzle that they would be assigned to. But if you have hit points and self-healing ability, ice is really the easy one. And this puzzle starts like pretty much right away, so you got to get, you know, usually you come in here, the 4 people that are assigned to do the puzzle, grab the stacks of rocks and get them equipped, and then just immediately start shooting down asteroids. There would only be 4 people doing it typically, and so you just make like a plus or cross pattern. 4 people evenly spaced, covering each other's backs. And this puzzle only takes about 2 minutes to complete. Remember, don't hold down the button when you're throwing, because if you do that, it'll throw 2 rocks. Just slash sleep if you're out.
I'm all out too.
And if you continuously throw 2 rocks, you're going to run out before we finish. You can, now just for sake of providing important information or relevant information, you can actually use a ranged weapon to shoot these down. Like you can shoot a bow at them, or throw a throwing star or whatever at the rocks, and it will break, but that does not count towards the total number of asteroids that you need to break. So it's pointless basically to do that. You're actually, you know, it's counterproductive because people could be wasting rocks while you're shooting them down with your bow. So you don't ever really want to use, you know, your normal ranged weapon to shoot them down. You want to use the rocks. Don't click on the portal. So
You do need to watch though, because sometimes the asteroids keep coming, even though the sarcophagi come up.
yeah, those last ones, after the sarcophagi come up, those last asteroids, they won't actually damage you. It's weird. So it's like almost
They
like,
won't knock you off?
will they? I've always found they almost seem to be like fake asteroids.
Okay.
I might be wrong. It doesn't hurt to just shoot them down. So two more stacks of rocks appeared over here. So those are the extra rocks you'd want to grab to break people out of their encasement. And also want to make sure you break the 2 sarcophagi that come up. You can see both sides of the platform. A sarcophagus is floating out in space. You just throw a rock at it, it breaks it. And then that's what makes the puzzle considered complete, is when you break both sarcophagi in it. So if you look in the upper right hand corner, it says destroy men, and you need to drink a curse pot, buddy. I think you get hit by the inferno. It says destroy the sarcophagi, granting the Abbot immortality 2 left. So those are these sarcophagi. And so there's 2 left because we haven't done the goggles puzzle yet. So the ice puzzle, you know, that can be done literally in seconds if you have a person swimming it. This puzzle takes 2 minutes. It's the goggles puzzle that sort of, when done legit, takes, you know, maybe 10 minutes to do or so. So at this point, if you were in Roids, you would just hang out until all the puzzles were done. Roids is also the puzzle that, like, the leftovers, anybody who's not assigned a job, you just send them into Roids and tell them to slash sleep in the center of the platform. And the reason why you want to do that is because that way they're down low and out of the way of people doing the puzzle. You know, if they're standing up and moving around, jumping around, you know, you can't see through them and target through them and shoot past them, right? So you just want them down low in the center, out of the way. And so you, like, if you had a full Abbot group, you would typically have like a couple people here end up sleeping in the center, while the 4 people assigned to the job were actually doing the puzzle. Any questions about Roids? Oh, he's got the permanent water dot on him.
That's a first for that one for me.
Yeah. If you log out and log back in, it'll remove that if you're irritated by it. Otherwise, just, you have to live with it.
Yeah, I'll be fine for it.
Okay. So here's and you can see if, since we waited a while, the boulders start to respawn. So you can just grab more stacks if you want to. Doesn't hurt to grab them. Okay, so just like at the end of Ice, now we're, you know, when we're ready, not yet, but, you know, when we're ready, we're going to go back in, and now we got to do another beatdown of the Abbot, because one of the puzzles didn't get done. Nobody went into goggles and did that one. And so, you know, we'll send a spotter in to say when it's safe. The spotter is waiting for the Abbot to do one of his special moves. As long as it's not the Inferno, they'll then call everybody in. Then we'll have to beat the Abbot down to 30% health again, getting the 3D doors up again, sending spotters in there again because the puzzles reshuffle. And then what we're all going to do is go into goggles this time. We're going to show you how goggles works. Now, goggles is kind of like a more advanced puzzle, and we're not going to be teaching that per se, but we are going to show you what the puzzle looks like and, you know, explain how it works. And even though we're not going to be teaching it to you, if you, you know, in the future, if you are interested in learning goggles, like I said, come to our Thursday Abbots, and, you know, once we get you to be pros at Roids and Ice, then, you know, we are happy to teach you how goggles works. And that goes for anybody watching the live stream too. If you're watching the live stream or even watching this video later, join our Thursday Abbots. We will teach you every puzzle. Okay, somebody grab those other boulders there. Ah, I can't cast Cocoon. They must have changed that. I can't even cast it now. Before you could cast Cocoon and the temporary hit points would go into effect, but now I can't even cast it. That's funny that they changed that. And that the healing from consecrated ground is not in effect either. But the temporary hit points from a Warlock's Aura are still in effect. Temporary hit point stuff typically works. Okay, let's see. Mama, you have a set of goggles, don't you?
Yes.
And does anybody else Menon, did you end up with a set of goggles?
Yes, I have a set too.
Okay, can you give them to me, please? This is awesome, Mama. This way both you and I will have the starting goggles. Somebody died. Alts couldn't stand it anymore. So, Alts just demonstrated that if you fall off the platform, you die. Which is actually good. You need to know that. And then his soul stone just gets teleported back to the center. Just like Larinar did when he died in ice. And he's going to be back there when we step through, and we'll just raise him, no big deal. So, again, beat down the Abbot to 30. We're going to send spotters in, and then we're all going to go into goggles. Mama, I want you to go in, like, at the very end. Like, I just want me and you to go in at the very end, okay? Because I want to make sure you and I are on different sides.
Tell me when to go.
Okay. Oh, actually. I can't have you as a spotter because you're going to be my goggler. So I'm going to change it up a little bit. And Bolo misclicked in. So you just spotted for us, Bolo. You just spotted for us, Bolo.
Okay, I just misclicked and went in.
Inferno.
Okay, should be safe to come in now. You can also use.
I have a whole bunch of negative levels. So we can make up.
You can also use
Got it.
spell
Cased in the middle.
spell absorption items to survive the inferno. Go ahead and beat down the Abbot. We're gonna have Menon spot left this time and Bolo spot right. Wooter, I don't want you to go in, okay? Don't go in until I say.
Okay.
Because I'm going to use you to figure out what side we're going to be on. Inferno. Everybody run to the north and shoot your little ice island. Or you can use spell absorption to survive the inferno, either way. In fact, that's what we do in our Thursday Abbot, so we don't even play around with these ice islands anymore. We just put on our spell absorption, like our Pale Lavender Ioun Stone, or your Mage Star, or your Mantle of the World Shaper, etc. Everybody back up. But I'm just showing you, we're just showing you the ice island just to show you the sort of traditional way of doing it. And, I guess different servers go to different sides of the platform. Like on Sarlona, if they were due to ice islands, they go to the north. But like on, for example, on Thalanis, I think they go to the east. Come on up, Alts. He's down at the bottom trying to...
On my way.
He's got to swim up so I can throw him
Look,
away.
got
ice in there.
The guy
Right is
got
right.
or something.
What'd you say, Bolo?
Right as goggles.
Okay, everybody right, but Mama and Wooter stay out. Everybody right, Mama and Wooter stay out. Menon, go ahead and die. I'll erase you.
Yeah, I'm just gonna swim it. I'll be there in a second.
Okay.
I got the unholy water.
Alright, Mama, go ahead and go in. I'm gonna go in next. Now Wooter and Menon, go ahead and come in.
Blue person.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody who's got that permanent water dot, and including you, Mama, go ahead and log out now. I don't want you to have that while you're trying to do goggles. Just log out and log right back in. Yeah, you don't have to quit the game. Just log out and log back in. Lyranar and Angry Tiger, go ahead and come out here, down this hall. And equip those goggles that I gave you. And have a look out to the north through this blue barrier. And you're going to see a field of 4 by 12.5 tiles that are phasing in and out. Which, when you're new to it, is totally overwhelming. Do you see it, Lyranar and Angry Tiger?
Yeah, I see it.
Now, I can't see it. Nobody else can see it except you guys, because you guys have the goggles. And there's normally only one set of goggles, but because we did the 3 beatdown, or the 2 beatdowns, we had extra sets of goggles. Okay, and so the object of this puzzle is for the person with the goggles to lead the other person on the other side across. That person over there can't see the tiles, but you can. And so it's your job to lead them across safely by studying the puzzle and figuring out a pattern to get them across. Now, most of the tiles are phasing in and out, but there are going to be blue tiles that are static. They don't phase in and out, so they become like safe spots, basically. And the location of the blue tiles and the number of blue tiles are random, so sometimes you don't get any blue tiles. Sometimes I've seen as many as like 12 or 13 of them. So if you got more, if you got 2 or 3 blues, consider yourself lucky, especially if they're in good locations. Sometimes you don't get any to work with. So take a moment to look at that, and then one of you I'll need the goggles back from. Okay, Angry Tiger is passing me his goggles. Thank you. So now the folks watching the live stream, you get to see what it looks like. So it looks like we only have 3 blues over here, and they're not in the best locations. 2 of them are right at the start, not a big help, and then the third one is toward the end. So what would be ideal is we had a few blues and they were like sort of out in the middle-ish, and you could lead people from like one blue to the next, but we don't have that luxury today. So there's a pattern that we always use when there are no usable blues on this side, but I don't have it memorized, like 4-3, forward 1, and then to the end or something like that. I gotta find where I have it written down here.
Quick question. How did the other guys get on the other side of the barrier?
Oh, that is a good question. When you go into goggles, it alternates what side you're on. So the first person ends up on a random side, and then every successive person ends up on the opposite side as the previous person. Now, I don't know what causes it, perhaps lag or whatever, but sometimes, like usually you just have 2 people assigned to this job, and sometimes, and that's what happened to us this past week, sometimes you'll actually both end up on the same side. It doesn't happen very often, but probably only like 5% of the time. But that's, if you both end up on the same side, you're basically screwed, because then there's nobody on the other side to lead you across. And there's a sarcophagus at the end of the puzzle on each side. There's a sarcophagus that needs to be broken. Okay, Mama, did you lose your permadot? Okay, cool. So, let's see. So the gist of this is, like I said, you have to like look at the tiles and figure out a pattern to safely move somebody across. And remember that your runner, the person on the other side, they can't see it. So really this becomes just an exercise in giving clear instructions and then them following your instructions like to the letter when you say. It's also like a puzzle of trust. You know, you really need your runner to trust what you're telling them to do, and you really need them to do exactly what you say. And it's really nerve-wracking when you're learning this. I mean, I'm talking like sweaty palms, like, you know, I've seen people have damn near breakdowns trying to learn this this puzzle. And I know there's some people in here that can attest to that because I have taught some of you how this puzzle works. So, I'm not going to try to teach you strategies of learning it. And like I said, if you want to learn this, like we will teach you in our Thursday Abbots. I would even happy to offer you like private lessons how to do goggles if you really, really wanted to learn it. But you know, we really, during the teaching aid, we just wanted to just explain the gist of it and just have you kind of sort of see how it works. And I was hoping that that one of you would be on the other side so I could lead one of you across. But nonetheless, let's see. Lirenar, you still have the goggles, right? Okay, so you're going to be able to watch what I'm doing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lead one of those people across, and you're going to watch what I'm doing, and then then after I get them across, you're going to give your goggles to Angry Tiger so that he can watch me lead another person across so he can watch what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do is use a pattern that we like to use when there are no usable blues on that side, which is what I typed in. 4, 3, 1 forward, 1 end. And what that means is they're going to go over 4 tiles, then they're going to pause. The dashes means pause in this case. Then they're going to go over 3 tiles and pause. Then they're going to go over 1 tile and pause. Then they're going to go forward 1 tile and pause. And then they're going to go all the way to the end. And we're going to be using a method called the mirror method, which means they mirror what I do. They stay with me at all times. They move when I move. They stop when I stop. And I talk them through it. And at all times they stay perfectly lined up with me. So they'll be like strafing across, facing me, and we're moving together. And they're just doing the, you know, it's like copycat. They're doing the mirror image of what I'm doing. Zivan, Terralyn is Inamorata. So Terralyn is not actually in this raid right now, but she is one of my guildies. She was in the Reaper Life series and some of my other. This has been in some of the other teaching raids too. It is a really cool puzzle. Unfortunately, most people do not want to learn it. And there are some sort of, I don't want to call them cheaty methods, but there's definitely some shortcut methods to do this. They're not really reliable. There are ways to solo this puzzle, but like I said, it's not perfectly reliable. But one of the methods is called like the crack method, is basically where you run down the center between the 2 tiles, and like it doesn't, if one of them is there on either side of you, you won't fall. And so I guess you can time it so that it increases your chances to get across safely. But you know, we always do it legitimately. Like, we have a few people in High Lords that are really good at this. Turek is actually going to be my goggler today, and she's really good at this, but I would still say that she's in training. So I was trying to line up one of the our main gogglers, but his tabletop D&D game ran late, and so he wasn't able to be here for this. But Turek totally knows this puzzle, but what would you say? You could probably still use a little more practice to be 110%?
Yeah, it takes a long while to learn the pattern, but when the blue tiles show up or don't show up, it really changes everything. So it takes a long time to learn. For me, anyway.
She's like
I'm
90.
still in training.
She's like 98%. So she'll get to 110% soon. All right, let's see who's over there. Bolo, you know how this works, right?
Sure.
As a runner, you've been led across before. Or no, let's do Wooter. I know Wooter knows how to do it because Wooter is another one of my trainees. Wooter, go ahead and get in row 2.
What row?
And she knows exactly. Actually, I'll say this so you guys can hear too. So Angry Tiger and Larinar, if I tell her to go into row 2, she knows exactly where to get lined up because there are sort of markers that you can use. Remember, she can't see the tiles, but the markers that we use to line up for the rows are like the cracks in the tiles, that the platform they're standing on. You can see she's standing like on a seam between the tiles, sort of, and we know that that's row 2. And then like there's a V-shaped a notch cut out, and that's like row 1. And then the seam behind Wooter that's row 3, and then row 4 it's like just in front of the second to last pillar that's over there. But so Wooter has lined herself up in row 2. And Lirinar, since you have the goggles, I want you to follow along. Angry Tiger, I want you to stay here at the start. Typically you wouldn't have people running out here, because the runner needs to see the goggler and focus only on the goggler. But in this case, because it's a teaching raid, Lirinar, I want you to follow along. Keep the goggles on so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to be moving her 3 or 4 tiles, then we're going to pause, then we're going to move 3 tiles, and then we're going to pause, then we're going to move 1 tile, then we're going to pause, then she's going to go forward 1 to row 1 and pause, and then I'm going to take her all the way to the end, okay? All you have to do is watch what I do, just so you can see it as an example. You ready, Twizzler?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to be the one glowing like a Christmas tree here. I've got the red fire shield, I've got the displacement. So focus on me, okay? And
Okay.
Wooter only, get ready, go 4. And Lirinar, you follow along. Go 3. I'm waiting for that tile to phase in. Go 1. Now forward 1. And all the way to the end. Great job. Don't forget to
Great,
break the
thank you.
sarcophagus. Super simple, right? I'm kidding. So that pattern will work
Oh,
every time. The puzzle, here's the thing, and I didn't know this for years, the puzzle is the same every single time. The tiles are phasing in and out exactly the same pattern every single time. The difference is the number of blues and the locations of the blues. But if you didn't have any blues, or even if you had some like we do now that were basically worthless, you know, we know that 4-3-1 forward 1 starting in row 2 always works. It always works every single time for that side. The other side's different. I have heard that on other servers they phase in and out at different sequences, but I don't know that for a fact because I haven't really played on other servers. Okay, Angry's got the goggles. Next, we're going to do alts. You're pretty good at this, aren't you?
Sure.
Okay, we're going to do that same thing with you so Angry Tiger can see what's going on now. So, you ready?
Got you targeted. I'm ready.
Great. So, Angry Tiger, you're going to follow along now. Get ready, alts. Just waiting for those to phase in. Get ready and go 4. And 3. Just waiting for that next one to phase in. 1. Forward 1. And to the end. Great. Did you see all that, Angry?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's pretty intense. It's a lot of fun to learn, and over the years I've taught quite a few people how to do this, and I've had a lot of fun you know, working with others and sort of building a bond of trust in this puzzle. So if you have a friend that you group with all the time, and you can see, here's the thing, if you have a friend, you two can go into Abbot, just the two of you, go in on normal, and you can practice any puzzle you want. If you take your level 30s and go into heroic normal Abbot, it's easy to beat him down, and then you just jump into whatever puzzle you want. And the way that you get the puzzle you want is you just send one of you into a D-door, and if it's not the puzzle you want, you have them die, and then the person that's still in the middle raises them, and then they go into the next D-door. And if it's not the puzzle you want, they die, and the person in the middle raises them until you get the puzzle you want. And so, for example, you could both come in here and beat Abbot down to 70 and come into goggles and practice with each other. Okay, little mama, you're next. And Bolo, you just want to follow along with her?
Sure.
Okay. I'm going to let it cycle, mama. I'm calling her Little Mama because that's her main tune is named Little Mama. Get ready. Go for. Three. Forward one. Oh, I'm sorry, I screwed up. Oh crap. I thought I went one too far. So goes to show, like, even when you've done this a million times, like, you can still make mistakes. I had like
tried to run back again.
I had like a brain fart, and I knew I messed up something, but I wasn't sure if I went too far or what. But okay, so that means Wooter, you got to lead me across.
Love and Wooter are good at it.
So yeah, I totally messed that one up. Okay, so Wooter or Alt. It doesn't matter which one of you has the goggles. Actually, yeah, only one of you would have it, because Mama had the other set.
Oh,
no, she didn't.
To doing this? If you are, then...
Yeah, I am. Row 4 looks like
Okay.
the best bet.
Okay.
Got one right in the middle, and then
Cool. I'm going to take a moment to show these guys where the markers are and how to get their loc. I'm sorry that I dropped you guys. I didn't do that on purpose. Total brain fart. So remember I said that there were sort of markers that you could use to tell what row you were in. And so like where Lyranar and I are standing right now, or where I'm standing, this little seam that I'm on, this is row 2. Row 1 is like the beginning of this little notch that's cut out here. Don't go forward from here because you'll fall right off the edge, but right here, this is a good marker for row 1. And then, like I said, the seam back here is your marker for row 2. And the next seam is your marker for row 3. And then back here, this V-shaped notch, which is actually solid. You're not going to fall through that, but if you go any further back, you're going to fall through. It looks scary to go out here, but you can see I'm standing on it. I'm not falling. It's totally solid. But right here at about the beginning of it, this is your marker for row 4. And then you also, I'm going to show you how to get your location by typing /LOC. Like that. If you type /LOC, you're going to get a series of numbers that come up. That look like that, and that's your location inside of Dungeons & Dragons Online. So if you were to give those numbers to a dev, they would know exactly where you are. If you've ever reported a stuck spot, they ask you to enter your location because they want to know exactly where you're stuck. So that's how you do that. And we're only interested in one number of that. It's the H number, the one at the very end. Mine says H4.2. And that H number is like a 360-degree circle. It tells you which way you're facing. And what we want to do here is we want to get our H number set to 0. We want to face perfectly north and get our H number set to 0. And when the H number is set to 0, it won't say H0. The H number just won't be listed at all. You can see mine says H1.4 there, so I'm just going to adjust a little bit. And now it's gone. So you face north, you type /LOC. If the H number isn't 0, if it's still listing an H number, you just want to slightly adjust yourself by rotating left or right, and type /LOC again until that H number is gone. And then at that point, you're no longer going to rotate. You're only strafing. You're only moving left and right. You're only sidestepping. And then we're going to do the mirror method with Alts, who is up. If you look upstairs, you'll see he's on the second story up there. All right, that's Wooter there, and there's Alts. So, both of you go ahead and get your Loke, and just for fun, we're gonna have Alts try to lead you across, and don't stress about trying to get it perfect or whatever. Like, this is just for fun, just for practice. But go ahead and get your Loke and line up here in row 4 where I am. And he's going to lead you across. It looks like Angry Tiger is ready already. So, Alts, why don't you go ahead and try to take Angry Tiger across first? Do you see Alts up there?
Hang on 1 second, I'm just getting my H right.
Okay.
And make sure you have your strafe keys set up as well.
How do you set that? I'm not 100% sure.
One way you can do that is to press T, which locks your mouse hook, then move left to right with regular left to right keys that you're used to. It will strafe left or right. The other way is to go into the keyboard setup and then find the left and right strafe keys, and then assign those. I actually assign those to my left and right arrow keys.
So like right now I have Q and E set up for my strafing keys. And then ASDW is my moving forward, back, left and right, or rotating left and right. But I don't know what the default is.
By default, it's not set.
Okay. The problem with using your mouse look to strafe is that if you have to hold down your right mouse button, and if you end up rotating just a tiny bit, then your location will be, can be set askew. And the reason why you want your location set to be perfectly 0, or you want your location to remain perfect, is that way when you're strafing across, you're not going to drift forward or backwards and fall off the front or the back edge of the row. This way you'll stay right, in a perfect line heading to the west, and you won't drift outside of your row. That's why we're setting our loke. Menon, how about you go first? You know how this works.
Alright, I'm good.
Okay, you're going to take Menon across first, Alts.
Sounds good. Let me know when you're ready, Memon.
I'm ready.
Okay. Cycling out. Give it a minute. We're going to go 7. Get ready. And go.
So he's mirroring Alts. You can see Alts at the top, on the right, top right, and he's
Stop.
moved him out to a blue,
Perfect.
which doesn't phase in and out, so he's on a safe spot right now.
We're just going to go all the way to the end.
Wait. Don't do that
Oh.
yet. Okay. Alts, what I want you to do, let's keep Menon there. That's a blue safe spot, right?
Right? Yes, it is.
Okay, let's use him as an anchor, so as a guide for Angry Tiger and Lyranar, so they know exactly when to stop, okay?
Sure.
Okay, cool. So what we're doing now is we're just using Menon as a buoy, as a marker, so that you guys know exactly where the safe spot is. So, because when you're out there, it's nerve-wracking. You can't see anything. You're just hovering, trusting that Alts is not going to kill you like I killed Little Mama and Bolo. Sorry, guys. But this way, like, you'll know exactly where to move to. Not only are you going to be mirroring Alt, you're going to move when he moves and stop when he stops, but you'll know when you're in the right spot because Menen's already out there standing on that safe blue spot, okay? So we'll do it one at a time. Angry Tiger, you can be first. Let Alts know when you're ready, and you two can do it.
I'm ready.
Sounds good. Cycling out. Get ready. Go.
There's Alts up there, and Angry Tiger's just mirroring him.
Stop. Perfect.
Nicely done. Okay, Lyranar. Got your loc set?
Yes. Once you hit 0, your loc goes away for the H.
Yep, so you want no H number listed at all, and that will mean you're at 0. So keep adjusting your loc until you get that, and when you're ready, let Alts know.
Perfect. And you have your strafe keys, yes?
Okay, if you don't have...
Press,
oh, go ahead.
you can press T to lock your mouse, and then just the keys that you use to go left or right should turn to strafe keys.
T is in Tango?
T is in Tango, yes.
You might have set that to something else, if it's not working. And if you can't get it, Lyranar, don't worry about it. What you can do, we can just do things a little bit differently. Since you have the marker out there, he can just tell you when to go, and you can just run straight to them if you want. Just make it simple.
Sure.
So Alts, just tell him when to go, and he'll run straight to them.
Let me know when you're ready. Okay. I'm going to wait for it to cycle out. Get ready. Go. Perfect.
Good.
Good job.
Nice work.
You ready?
Sure am.
All right. Get ready. Go.
I'm jumping because when you're in the air, you can't fall, right?
Perfect. Perfect. All right. If you guys want, you can turn and face the end, or you can strafe with me, but we're just going to wait for it to cycle in. Memon first, please.
I'm ready.
All right. I'm going to wait for it to cycle.
There's Alts up there. Or is that Wooter? Oh, that's Wooter. I don't see him. I think he's just going to say
Go.
when to go.
Very nice. Nice job.
Great job, dude.
Nice job.
Don't forget to break the sarcophagi. See this sarcophagi right over there? There was another one on the other side. That's what makes this
Angry,
puzzle
are you
complete.
ready?
Yes.
And Angry, when you get to the end, would you just stop on the main platform so you've got an anchor for Leonard to get you?
Sure, like just don't jump at the end, you mean?
No, jump onto the end, but don't move left, go forward or backwards. Just stay in the same spot that you're at. So he's got a target to get to.
Okay, I understand.
I want to make sure that you do jump, though, because there is a step up there. So it just when people are new...
It's a blue.
Oh, it's a blue, okay.
It's a blue at the end. Oh, it's a blue, okay. There are two blues at the end, so I'm not worried about the end. I just need, yeah. Okay, get ready. Gonna wait for this to cycle through.
Bruno, this isn't the hardest raid in the game, but it is one of the most technically challenging ones, like I was saying at the start. So you know, from a technical perspective, it's challenging. So you really need to make sure that you have good communication, that people get into the puzzles that they're assigned to, and that you have people that know how to do those puzzles. But you know, we do this every Thursday, and I realize I dropped somebody.
Right, get ready. Go.
Makes me look like I don't know what I'm doing, but we do this every Thursday, and I love this raid, and we knock them out.
And stop right there.
We have 10-minute completions.
There's a little ledge where you're at to jump over to the end, but you're perfectly fine. You're on a blue, so
But
you don't have to move anywhere.
it can be very challenging. It can be very difficult to find a good pug for this raid. I know that there are some people on other servers that host regular abbots.
Okay.
But if you're on Sarlona, every Thursday night, 9 p.m. If you're not on Sarlona, go to your guild. Go to your forum webpage. Every server has a forum page on the DDO.com.
Go ahead and jump and say good. And you can also jump over and get to the main platform. All right, Voodoo.
I'm ready.
Go. Perfection.
Great job, dude.
Well
Thanks for
done.
doing
Good
that.
job.
Much better than me. Okay, guys. That's all 3 puzzles. Any questions before we do the final beatdown? So the way that a normal Abbot raid would work is when we did the first beatdown, we send the spotters in, figure out where all the puzzles are. We assign people to all those puzzles. They know where to go. All the puzzles would be done simultaneously. We come out, we do the final beatdown. It's over. You don't, take all this time to do all 3 puzzles separately. We just did that for the purposes of the teaching raid, so you guys could see all the puzzles. So now what we're going to do is just like when we did the beatdowns before, is we're going to send one person in to spot and let us know when it's safe. This time I don't want to use any ice ball islands. If there's an inferno, we're just going to use our spell absorption. So Lyranar and Angry Tiger, do you guys have Mantle the World Shaper or any kind of spell absorption items? Jeweled Cloak?
Yeah, I don't.
Pale Lavender? It's hugely important. I would recommend that you get every possible one that you can, but easy ones to acquire would be like the Jeweled Cloak. The Mage Star is pretty easy. The Pale Lavender is an awesome one. This does require a little bit of farming. If you don't know, you can do Dreaming Dark, and every 3rd completion you get a random Ioun Stone on your completion list. And so you can just keep farming Dreaming Dark, and hopefully eventually you get a Pale Lavender Ioun Stone. That does have to be upgraded to get 50 charges. The non-upgraded version just is a one-time use thing. You can also use Mantle the World Shaper as a spell absorption item. Your Epic Fjarlin Mirror Cloak is a spell absorption item. You never know when you're going to need spell absorption. Like, shit starts hitting the fan sometime, and you just need to be able to have that extra little bit of survivability. Or you're doing High Skull Reaper and you got a nasty champion caster or something. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go in. It's going to be the same thing now, which is we're going to beat the Abbot all the way down to 0, and we win. We're not going to bother with the Ice Islands. Angry Tiger, I know you don't have spell absorption, but it'll be a good experience for you to get hit by the Inferno if we have one, so you can see what that feels like. I'm going to go ahead and spot. Quit my spell absorption, because if he can try to hit you with like an Inferno or an encasement right away, but if you have spell absorption on, you get right out of it, like just happened. Everybody in, everybody in. He just said what you can't see, so he's summoning invisible creatures. Interestingly, if you have the goggles equipped, you can't see anything but the invisible creatures. So those of you watching the live stream, you can see, like, I can't see anything on the platform now.
What is wrong with me right there?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Take your goggles off. I forgot to tell you that.
I thought the game had bugged out.
No. I should have told you that. I forgot.
But it's neat because you can see the invisible creatures
Yep.
that aren't anymore.
Inferno. So just equip your spell absorption. If you don't, you know, you're probably going to die Angry Tiger, but I'll try to keep you alive. And drink a curse pot if you get hit by the Inferno. If you don't have spell absorption. Just want to show you that you can survive that. It's important to know that, because if you're in a pug, there's, you know, somebody misfires the wand or doesn't get it, you know, set up in time or something, you know, and you're going to get stuck in Inferno, and it's important to know that you can survive that. Alright, congrats on your first Abbot, guys. Angry Tiger, you were the first sign up this week, so you can open the chest, buddy.
Sweet.
Congrats.
Got
Oh,
a
I got
seal.
Staff of the Petitioner.
Congrats. That used to be like the caster staff back in the day. This seal's gonna be up for roll. Somebody got Vile Blasphemy, noise, and the staff and a seal. The Vile Blasphemy only has one charge, but then you upgrade it using the seal of the Black Abbot, which comes from this chest, or you can also get a seal of the Black Abbot by the seal, or by the Tome of Legend or the Shield of Legend turn-in. They're in Upper Necro. Did you pass that to me, Bolo?
What's that?
Did you pass the Vile Blasphemy to me?
I did.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna roll it off. This is bound to character on acquire, so really only casters typically should be rolling on this, or somebody who has a blue bar that's important to them. And then D200 on the seal. Your blue bar is just for show. Nobody else is rolling on the Vile Blasphemy? Okay, Lyranar, looks like it's your lucky day. You get a Vile Blasphemy and a seal to upgrade it. You can take those both down to the Fountain of Necrotic Might there in just down the ramp from here, and you stick them both in there, it'll upgrade it. Any questions about this raid, guys? Any final questions in the live stream? Hey Bruno, you're welcome. I'm glad you like the videos. Appreciate hearing it. Okay, guys.
Questions for me. That's an awesome raid.
That wraps it up. I hope to see you guys in our Thursday Abbots. Like I said, every Thursday, 9 p.m. Details in the Sarlona forum. You're more than welcome to join us, and you'll see how it's done normally. Don't forget to turn this in so you won't be on timer when Thursday comes around. And you guys have a great night.
Have a great evening. Thanks, everyone.
See you guys.
Thanks all.
Night, everybody.
That was awesome.
Okay, live streamers, I'm going to be shutting down the video feed here in just a minute. If there are any final questions, well, I'm going to review the chat questions here before I shut that down. Let's see. How many charges does Inferno take from a Pale Lavender? I'm not sure, but I know that a full Inferno will eat up all 5 charges off of like your Mantle of the World Shaper. But I'm pretty sure it takes a pretty good number of charges off of the Pale Lavender. But it's just they work differently. Pale Lavender, so if you're watching the live stream, you're not familiar with how these work. Pale Lavender's charges are different than the charges off of like your Mantle of the World Shaper and your Fjarlin Miracloak and your Mage Star. So these absorb spells, whole spells. So like Mantle of the World Shaper that has 5 charges will absorb 5 spells. The Pale Lavender Ironstone absorbs spell levels, so it's not, you don't, it has 50 charges, it's not 50 spells, it's 50 levels of spells. So if, you know, if somebody casts, you know, if a mob casts a 5th level spell at you, it'll pull off 5 charges. If it casts a 9th level spell off you, it'll take off 9 charges. I don't know. The Inferno ticks 5 times. I don't know what each tick removes from you. Just looking over the questions. Bruno says the quiver is amazing. Yeah, I can't emphasize that enough. So, you know, I said in the beginning, I'll say it again. The Quiver of Alacrity, when you upgrade it, it gets striding 30%. It is no minimum level, so that means when you true reincarnate and you're back at level 1 in Korthos, you have striding 30. And, you know, I hate running around slowly. Who doesn't love running around fast, right? So the Quiver of Alacrity is just, I love having this for my TR tunes. And, you know, I can't stand not having it if I'm playing a first lifer, for example. Juvan, the Thursday night Abbot Fest on Sarlona, which we lead as a public event every Thursday, 9 p.m. It's a first come, first serve. It's not a sign-up thing, because it's not a formal teaching raid. It's just we post to LFM, and usually it's like half my guildies, and then we fill the other half up with pugs. So if you're on Sarlona, any of you, just look for the LFM at 9 p.m. Eastern. First come, first serve. And we usually do 2 runs. Once in a while we'll do a 3rd run if there happens to be a lot of interest that night, but anymore we just usually do 2. And I don't usually drop people in our in our Thursday runs, and like I said, we usually get about 10-minute completions, and so it's pretty quick. You're moving to Sarlona. You know, like I said, I know I've seen in other server forums that there are other folks that are leading regular abbots. So if you're not on Sarlona, check out your server's forum to see if you have a regular abbot there. I'm going to shut down the live stream now, guys, the video feed. I'm going to monitor chat for about another 5 minutes, so if there are any final questions, I'll answer in chat, but I'm shutting down the video feed now. Thanks for joining us, and have a great night.